So the Sacrosanctum Concilium talked about the reforms that need to be made to the liturgy in the Second Vatican Council. It talked about communal celebration. The effort was to energize Catholics and update church institutions. It also wanted to reach out to the entire world and have greater lay participation in the church, because at the time it was mostly just priests that had participation. The Latin language was still one of the main languages used in church, so they were promoting the use of vernacular languages. And they were also deciding if local bishops had the authority to make decisions about the liturgy. So the aims were to promote unity, reform, and continuity of the liturgy throughout the churches. It talked about the need for greater participation of the lay people. They had to understand what the sacraments were and what they were doing. They couldn't just sit through church and listen and then leave. They had to understand what was going on, so they expected that the priests would be explaining these things to people inside the church so they understood. They talked about fully conscious and active participation in all of the sacraments, and that they don't work unless people taking part in the sacraments fully understand what they're doing. They also decided that bishops could make changes to the liturgy if it still had the main message, but major changes to the liturgy had to go through the Vatican. They also talked about that scripture is the most important when celebrating the liturgy, and no person can remove or add anything to the words that are in the Bible. They also discussed that spiritual life outside of the church doesn't take the place of liturgy. You have to be spiritual inside and outside the church, so you can't just go to church, pray, and then leave and not do anything about it. You have to always be sort of thinking about how to be a Christian. And it was talked about a lot that Christ is always present when there are more than two people worshiping in his name. And those were sort of the main points of the chapter. I was unable to get in contact with my group, and I'm going to be traveling all day tomorrow, so I didn't want to miss out on the assignment. So I'm just submitting it by myself, and hopefully they submit their portion also.